right, we're ready to go. I'm back again, John Alite Show. Hit the subscribe button. Questions, send me some questions that you want, topics you want me to talk about. And I got to apologize because I'm all over the place lately. I'm doing a lot of traveling. Our president, everybody knows, very happy he won. I was in D.C. for his inauguration. Then I went to Chicago, doing some things there, did some podcasts. I got to do a shout out to my man that just came home, Reese. Dirt, what's up, guys? Bugatti, young man, doing the right thing, getting his life right. So I'm always trying to help him promote. And let's get to it. So today you're going to be surprised. I'm actually going to stick up for Sammy Gravano. Yeah, I got to smile when I say that. I'm going to actually speak up for a guy that I don't respect, that I don't like, that I think is the name Sammy the Bull came from Sammy the Bullshit Artist, and I'm going to stick up for him, though. I'm going to say some things that are true about him. He originally was getting killed, and I said this on another show, by the Colombo family. Louis Milito brought him over to the Gambino family, saved his life. He was a nickel and dime petty guy, stealing tires out of back trunks in his 20s. Didn't travel around, doesn't know anything about Italy, Europe. He doesn't travel there. He's not well-spoken. We all know that. Not educated, doesn't dress well. I could go into all the things why I don't really like the guy. But today, I'm going to talk about how Sammy was offered some sort of show. I'm not sure, obviously, what the monetary value of that is to him, or what kind of deal he cuts. I know he's a cheap guy. Here's another thing about him. He doesn't go for 2 cents. Never pay me back the money he owed me. I'll show you how petty he is. A couple $1,000, $3,000. Instead, he will go to the grave without paying that. You know, he's got his first penny in his pocket. Things like that, right? He's for lack of better words, he's a scumbag. We all know that. Not a tough guy, so I don't care. And I don't want to hear little fanboys or computer guys writing me how tough he is, because tough guys don't go hide, right? They stand on whatever they own, whatever they did, and so we're not going to judge whatever he did, right? So whatever he did, he's a rat, not a rat, whatever, stupid, I don't like those words, childish words. Is he a gentleman? No. Is he a classy guy? No. Can he sit in a room with classy, nice guys, gentlemen, women? Absolutely not. Is he a racist? 100%. And for the people that say, oh, I'm just saying that, no. He actually had a tattoo put on his body, right? And I said this already, that says he's a white supremacist. Anybody that ask him that question. The only reason what stopped him from that, and here's again why I say the things I do say about him, he's full of shit, is because after his daughter had a baby and she was a mixed race, he had to back up off that, right? So he didn't grow up like me and some of my friends where we all hang out together. Doesn't matter color, doesn't matter, religion, doesn't matter anything. You're a nice guy, you're a gentleman. We're on the street, you're a tough guy. You don't have to be a certain race or nationality to be a tough guy, or a gentleman, or a business guy. So for the people that sell that nonsense and that bullshit, because that's what it is, right? But I'm going to talk about his contract now. And I believe he got 1 or 2. And groups of family members. I know in the past, I know Cindy, I know DB's daughter and the ex. I'm sorry to say to all these people, whoever they are, and different people involved in the mob world that lost their fathers, brothers, uncles, it's, in a better lack of words, and I don't mean to be cold because I'm no different than all those guys. We lived lousy lives. But part of our life was killing each other, whether we like it or not, whatever reason it was. It was about control, power, and money. And you need some luck in that life. You need some power behind you in that life. Sammy ended up getting it from Louis, and he moved him over to the Gambino family. and he got buddied up with Frankie DeChico, who was a gentleman, a tough guy. His family, his brothers all were, whether it was Butter, Joey, he was a nice guy, Georgie, or any of them. That family was royalty in the mob. And Sammy knew he had to kiss his ass to get where and get protected and to make money. And that's where it started with Sammy, right? But once he was on his own, he couldn't handle that. And proof of that is still, he gets behind one of these cameras and he tells stories, but he goes and he hides. So the problem I have is I know that they went after Sammy before with the Son of Sam law. And for the people that are not educated about that law, it's been years ago. You can't profit off of criminal behavior in movies, books, this, that, the other thing. The family can sue you. It's not accurate. It's a very difficult law, first off, and it's state by state. So obviously there's a team of people in Hollywood that understand that. They probably facilitated ways to give him the money. They gave it to him through, and the corporation's probably done through, the state somewhere, or it was given to somebody in his family member's corporation who will funnel it to him. And there's other ways, and there's only a percentage. So if you write a book and there's 300 pages of the book and only one of those pages discusses a murder, then you can't get paid for that section of the book. And that's basic, really. It's complicated besides that. But here's the reason why, even though these people were killed, that the family members are going to go after him for doing these shows. To me, it's a waste of time. They're not going to get anywhere with it, but, good luck to them if they do get somewhere. But I got to say, in Sammy's behalf, they shouldn't be able to get anything from him. So now I'm going to talk for Sammy. And why is that I'm talking for Sammy? Because he didn't kill any of them. It's as simple as that. He was involved in conspiracies, maybe down the line, 10 people, somewhere down the line, or he passed a message somewhere. But actually, he's not involved. I keep saying this to all of you. With all his dumb podcasts and all his shows he's ever done, he never sat there and walked you through, because, right, he would have content for 20 years if he can walk you through each one of those supposed 19 murders, right? But he can't walk you through. In other words, I got a phone call from the boss, whether it was John Gotti at the time, and he told me, Sammy killed this guy. Okay. Sammy, what'd you do? Did you go get a car? Did you go get guns? Did you have a meeting with 5 guys or 3 guys and tell them, this is how we're going to plan this out. This is what we're going to do. And you took a ride with him? Absolutely not. He wasn't there. Was he in his cafe and sitting one of his buddies down and they're having coffee and someone came behind them and shot him in the head? Not him, but this happened on an occasion. And somebody shot the guy in the head. Who's impressed by that? How does that make him a tough guy? It makes him a fucking weasel, yes. It makes him a sneak, yeah. It makes you show that he has no loyalty to his brother-in-law or any of his friends or to Louis or any of these guys. Doesn't matter what they did for a living. And I don't agree with that life. Everybody knows that. I lived it, and years ago I'm away from it. Do I agree with it? No, because you got guys just what I just said, just like with Sammy. I'm going to stick up for him because I don't believe he should have to pay for any of those people. He made a movie, and you want to use the word rat? Yeah. Sneak? Yeah. Coward? Yeah. He is all those things. Liar? Yeah. Betrayal of his friends and family? Yes. All those things. 100% he's all those things. Got involved with drug dealing with his own children? Yeah. So the people have to respect the idiots, and I'm sorry to say that to the people that are impressed by him. But how come he never told a story when he walked down the block and there was 2 guys bothering him, and by names, by the way, not just some stupid story, and he fought him. And he got beat up because you ain't beaten to him. He's 120 pounds. So, 5'2", whatever he is. So he won't tell you those stories. Later on, he'll tell you stories. And when he started doing steroids or whatever the hell he was doing. But forget about that. He ain't a tough guy. He didn't go do any heists by himself. He told a couple of those dumb stories. It sounded like a 14-year-old kid. He went in the house and, he's like, he watches too many movies where he's the hero and the girls always like him and he's doing the robbery and before you know it, the girl's in bed with him. Yeah, okay. And then you woke up and you were in Disneyland. I mean, these are ridiculous, almost childlike stories. I don't know how anybody puts them on any kind of show because this is insane. I just came back from the south side of Chicago. And those guys are against that life now. But they're gangsters, serious gangsters. Guys who are on the street, tough guys, getting busy. They ain't Italian, they're black. I don't care what color, again. They're my friends. But that does nothing to do with that life. They were real. That's my point. I doubt you see Sammy on the south side of Chicago. Not doubt, I know 200% that he ain't there, wasn't there, won't be there, never been there. Same thing with Italy. He won't go, he won't fly, he won't go anywhere because the truth is he's a coward. He's like most of them. If they can't stand on their own 2 feet. And this is the problem with these guys. But let me get to the next. He doesn't talk about, and I don't watch his shows, only tidbits that people send me. And that's the truth. I don't even watch my own stuff. But I know these guys. And, just like he lied about me at the time and he spoke all these things about me. I'm the greatest guy since white bread, ice cream, chocolate cake, whatever. He talked for an hour about me. Then he said he just made it up. Same guy that said he didn't know me, but he's on a video in front of the club with me in front of the Ravenite in 85. This is how much these guys just bullshit, doesn't matter. Then he's in another video with me in 88 or 89. Then he's meeting with me after that. So who listens to these guys that they're not articulate and they lie crazy? But go through whoever watches him, whoever's a fanboy of his, and see if he talks about when he ever did a heist. He didn't do them. And you could like John Gotti or don't like John Gotti, but he was a heist guy. He grew up in Brownsville, Brooklyn. He grew up in the streets. He was a street guy, a legitimate street guy, not a spoiled guy like Sammy, right? Put in work, was tough, did fight. He was all over the place. You can't question him. Or I can bring up other guys. You can't question certain guys. I always bring up Joey Molino. Everybody knows I bring him up all the time because he was a street guy. He was a legitimate street guy. He grew up in life but earned his way up. So when you go through certain guys, and I'm going to talk about, like, say, Ronnie Wonham, he's home, and people talk, I'm going to do a show on him. So you're going to hear me do a show on him and his son. His son, Ronnie Wonham, like him or not, he grew up in the street. His son is a bitch. I mean, it's a completely different thing. This is a joke, father and son union. This guy ain't no gangster. This kid's a punk kid. So there's a big difference of talking about Lucky Luciano, talking about his cousin Blackie, Charlie Luciano. These were guys who were intelligent gangsters, nice guys too, but intelligent. And not promoting that life, but through history. And then you got guys like Sammy who completely faked his way through his life. And I'm speaking up from about not having to pay, because he never did anything. And, when I always say this constantly, talk specifics when you're talking to people. They like telling stories, but they don't tell you specifically. Name the place, name the location, name the date, name what you did. Where were you? Where were you? It's easy to tell somebody else. You could tell your mother to go kill somebody. And she gives an order to somebody else, an order, passes a message. That's what Sammy did. Big deal. You pass a message. But since you're away from that life, you hide because you ain't about it. No one's saying you got to be a gangster, but what are you hiding for? What do you, like I always say, on the ground in a cave somewhere? Well, you move around, you got to have 20 guys with you. And you're an old man now. So what? You weren't an old man back then when you were hiding at the beginning. And none of us are kids anymore. So you're not going to roll around the street with a 20-year-old, 25-year-old, 30-year-old. We all know that. Unless you're delusional and you still believe your own crap. But let's talk about armed robberies. Did he ever do any? Anybody watch his show? Did he talk about doing armed robbery? Did he walk through the door first? Did he come in through that door and have 5 guys behind him waiting out in the car and then they come in? No. Did he go anywhere? It was dangerous. We had to put himself on the line. Was 2 or 3 guys with pistols and he had to go for him? No. Did he ever fight anybody when it was more than 1 guy against him? No. It's easy to sneak somebody from behind with your friends when there's 10 guys in a room. Or it's easy to fight, like, when these new gangsters shooting steroids and they think 5 guys going to pick on some business owner is a tough guy. They're delusional. So now I'm going to get to the part. But there's one person why Sammy shouldn't get a fucking dime. Not a penny for any movie. And whoever's behind these movie industry should be ashamed of themselves doing anything with this guy. You know why? He's a baby killer. That's the person I want to talk about. Here's where I'm against Sammy. All the rest of the other people, sorry, you guys, families were all in the life like me. You get killed, you don't get killed, you go to jail, you get beat up. It's part of the life. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, he weaseled your father, your fathers or your brothers or your uncles or somebody. Yeah, I agree with you. That he did do. But doesn't give you the right to take money out of his pocket because he didn't do anything. He wasn't the one that shot him. He's not the killer. He's just a good bullshit artist. He's got everybody talking that he did 19 murders. And, fortunately for him, he got out of jail because he ratted on John, blamed everything on him. And if John didn't go to jail, he was getting killed, Sammy. That is 200%. And the people that don't want to believe me on that, well, I know firsthand on that from John. And his day was coming. If they didn't get pinched, he was going. And anybody that heard those videos at the Ravenite, those audio videos, audio tapes, knew he was telling Frankie Loke. He's putting a pulse on Frankie Loke to, let's kill him. He was trying to get Frankie in agreement. Frankie was nervous about it and didn't want to discuss it. But regardless, John was an old man. He was killing Sammy. He knew Sammy had to go. And Sammy was a guy. But now we're going to get back to Allan Kaiser. That was a little young kid. Had nothing to do with the mob world. Was just a good kid, school kid, running around with his friends and his girlfriend that saw something that he shouldn't have saw. And Sammy killed him. Sammy not only killed him, bragged about it. And then when I called him out on it years ago when he first came home, this is where, because I had no great friendship with Sammy, this is where we argued over him being a lowlife, killing a young kid. There's a difference, and I'm not justifying crime or the mob, but there's a difference of these guys that rape girls. In my opinion, they should be killed. There's a difference in these guys that kill kids or harm kids or are involved in child pornography or any of that crap that Sammy was involved with, right? So, in my opinion, he should have been killed, Sammy, immediately when he killed this boy back then. And there is no forgiveness because he ruined the family of a young boy. You could do all the crimes you want in the street with men, and we all understand it, right? And we justify it through, okay, that was a lousy life. Even though we lived that life, it's like going to war, and that's how we relate it in our own minds to okay what we're doing, to justify what we're doing. But the point is, he killed a kid. I ran over a deer once, right? All the crazy things I did, I tried to get out of the car and pick up the deer. I wanted to bring him to a veterinarian. I know it's crazy, right? I'm not into hunting. I don't kill animals. I did a lot of bad things with people, but they were men, right? They were adults that chose the same path as I did in that life. We're talking now about a baby, right? A young kid had his whole life ahead of him. He had a sister, he had a mom, he had a dad, he had cousins, he had family members. He took his life because he's a piece of shit lowlife. That's the family should be going after this. And they're justified to go after this because they weren't signed up for this life. That boy wasn't a gangster. And he had no qualms, even years later, when he could think about it, when he talked about me, when he found out I was working with kids. He said, F them, all the kids. If they're too stupid, fuck them. How do you do business with this guy is what I want to know. How is anybody doing business with this guy that does nothing for nobody, including his own family, because he got him involved in drug dealing? What kind of father is that? We all have issues with our families, our kids, and no one's perfect. We all have, skeletons in our closet, whatever goes on. But to bring your kids into the drug business, to get your kids locked up, to kill your brother-in-law, right? All the low-life things. Does it surprise anybody that he killed this boy? Does it surprise anybody now he's trying to cop a plea and say he wasn't the shooter? Of course he can say that. Louis dead. Who's he going to blame it on? But he bragged years before that it was him. He bragged about not helping kids. And he's the same coward that's hiding. So whoever's doing, they should go after him. And just morally, forget about legally, morally. I heard it was FX. I don't know if that's the station, so don't hold me to that. What are they thinking? If he was just a gangster and you wanted to do something with the guy, okay. But you want to put him on? All right. So why don't you go find a child molester too and put them on? And this guy was also involved, Sammy, in child porn industry. So that's who they're going to put their eggs in a basket with, this guy? There's a million guys out here, gangsters you can do business with. You want to do shows, you want to do movies, go find Greg Scarpa Jr. Do a show with him. He's got a huge storyline between him and his father, between what he did, saving American lives against terrorism in this country. I mean, you want to talk about a guy, he was a gangster. His father was a gangster. I'm just using one name, per se, to do something different. But to do any kind of storyline and let this guy enrich himself after being involved in child porn and after being involved with killing a young boy, I'm going to say it again. This kid wasn't a gangster. He wasn't out there selling drugs. He wasn't out there killing people, shooting people, hurting people. He was a child. You took his life. Anybody who's a low life, you imagine the moral bound on this guy's mind to do that to that kid. You could have knocked on their family's door and just told the father and mother, keep this kid quiet. We're going to give you a warning. Otherwise, something's going to happen to you, to the father, not to the son, if he goes in and testifies. Very simple. And you're going back in those days, nobody talked. So he had no excuse for that action except that he's a coward, that he's a lowlife, he's a piece of shit. And just what I said, he's a racist. I said all the things I could say about the guy. I've said it 100 times back and forth, and you got idiots that are writing me, sticking up for the guy. Well, let it be your child if you want to stick up for him. Let it be your kids that were being exploited in child pornography and everything that he was making a living off of. Let that be your family and see if you have the same attitude still. Sammy, for the rest of his life, should be going to church every day asking God to apologize for what he's done to a child. You don't want to apologize for your sneakiness, weakness, cowardness, how you betrayed your brother-in-law and the rest of them, your friends, Louis Melito, who saved your life? Don't. And I can give the rest of the names. You don't feel bad about whatever your actions were against John? Okay. We're all men. We know this life's all about betrayal and sneakiness and every other thing. But you don't sell yourself as this tough guy underboss, because that's a fucking joke. And every time I hear it, I'm like, whoever believes this can't be a street guy. You cannot be a street guy to believe this guy was any sort of tough guy. And that's what irritates me the more every time I do these shows and I talk about the mob world or gangsters. Or a real gangster, whether you like it or not, he's a gangster. He's a gangster. It doesn't matter. He's a real, he's a gangster. This guy's like Joe Kane was a coward. Kid got killed in jail, and not because he got killed in jail. And I don't want to talk about dead guys, but he was a piece of shit too. Sneaky guy, setting up his friends, pissing on a girl's toothbrush because she didn't like him. All low-life things. hitting a kid over the head with a bat. There's a bum that's on the street, sleeping on the street because he's down and out. He's a bum, right? When that guy was a tough guy, and I'm talking about Dennis Pittman, Joe ran from him. But then when the guy was on the street, you want to be a guy. That's a tough guy? That's a fucking coward. I don't know how everybody ain't getting this right. Jumping a guy with 5 guys, that'll make you tough. But then when Johnny Gebbett slapped him, he ran to me. When Fagood shot him in his knees, he ran to me. I could go to all the times he ran to me. When the Keegans abused him in front of his girlfriend on her porch, he ran to me. Does that sound like a tough guy? You imagine getting abused in front of your girlfriend, and then you tell other people you're a gangster? No, you're a coward. You're a weakling. No different than Sammy. So they got to get it straight. When there's a tough guy, like I just said, Joey earlier, like him or not like him, that's the fact about the guy. So, I keep it factual. But we're going to go back to Sammy. He shouldn't get a penny. And those networks should never give him $1. Not because of what he did in the past, but what he did with children and what he did with that child, taking his life. And that poor woman, the sister of Allan, has lived that misery her whole life, knowing her brother was a good kid, not a street kid, and you took his life. I don't get it. I don't know how anybody can be okay with that. I don't get how anybody puts him on a TV show. You want to talk to gangsters? Talk to gangsters. There's a ton of them out there that are legit guys. You want to put them on the shows? Go ahead. But him? That guy? He's just what I said. He's a lowlife. He should be underneath the ground somewhere. He got away. He got a pass. Not many guys get away like he did. And he should just hide, really, after all the crap he did. But that reason I just said, for that child, he should never pop his head out ever again. He should be praying for forgiveness every day. He should be sending gifts to that family every day, please, even though if they throw him in the garbage. Send them there, saying how sorry he was ruining their lives. All right, everybody, if you comment, I know you're going to get a lot of them. Comment on my page. And I'll say it one more time. Don't ever compare Joey Molino to Sammy Gravano again. That's a joke. Joey was good to people. He was good to his friends. He was different. And yeah, did he do things? We all did in that life, in that world. But he was a man about it. Big difference than killing kids. All right.